Coach Ferentz was just talking about how some people had knocked on your door and you elected to stay and remain loyal to the program. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's been a handful of opportunities, and they've come and passed with the years, and there's a lot. I said this back in early January. There's just a lot that keeps you here. There's a lot that keeps pulling you in the direction of this place, and I think we're all very fortunate to work for such an unbelievable head coach, somebody that clearly does it the right way, is great with people, is tremendous with our staff, and also our players, and it's exciting to come to work here every day, and I'm very thankful and appreciative for that opportunity.
One of those things I imagine that can keep you around this year is the linebacking core that you have. On paper, just what do you think this potential group has to offer, and where do they stand right now?
Yeah, I think we're all fortunate. I think we've seen this take place a time or two with the linebacker group and having a veteran group. It's you go all the way back to really 16, 17, 18. There's been a couple of years where we haven't been as veteran, but just the fortunate part is what our team gains from that, the leadership, the experience, the veteranness. That's really where we're reaping the benefits right now. And the nice thing is you don't. They've seen a lot of snaps. You don't need them to be out there during the preseason as much as maybe when you're not as veteran. So it allows some of the younger guys an opportunity to get in there and see what they can do. And that was Kyler Fisher, and that was Jay Higgins a couple of years ago.
What is it about Jay Higgins that he's around the ball so much?
He's really invested himself. I would start there. Like he's dug really deep. Not only to study, what we do defensively. Coach Lester was making a joke the other night. He walked into what he calls our pit crew, which is our GA office, and Jay Higgins is in there watching tape and having conversation with some of the younger coaches on staff. And you would think at this time in his career that maybe some of that would back off, but he loves the game, he loves football, he loves his teammates, he loves what we do defensively, and it's really fun to see him just continue to progress.
Coach, when you look at the trajectory of a guy like Jay, even the patience of Kyler early in his career, logging it on special teams, do you see that type of a trajectory with any of the other guys, like maybe Karson, Sharar, Jaden, Harrell?
I very much so do, and there was a point where maybe there was a little bit of anxiety that crept in when there was talk of Kyler could have left. He came back and grabbed another year. Nick Jackson obviously was a step out the door until the NCAA granted him his opportunity, and then Jay had some stuff to think about. But that anxiety it was reduced well before those three guys came back, because I'm pleased with the group that's behind them. Unfortunately, they're beating on a door right now that it's not dead bolted, but it's shut pretty good, and but we're going to see what happens. I mean, as you guys well know, there's a place for everybody, and there's a time for everybody when it comes to football, and you just got to keep pushing, and that's what those guys are doing right now.
What do you like about coaching linebackers? I mean, you were a wide receiver return man in college and high school.
It is right in the central part of our defense. It's right in the central part of everybody's defense. It's unique here. I think going back to when I came here in 2006, and I was a GA for Norm, there was an appreciation. You guys well know who Norm was and the type of person he was. And Norm was as good to me as he was to anybody. And I took full advantage at that time to try to get my doctorate in defensive football specific to our defense. And, I got the opportunity to see some good players then. Pat Anger, I work with Abdul. Abdul and I've shared some space before. And, so I just, the appreciation, and then what it means to our defense, and what it means, to the guys that are walking into that room looking at the wall behind them, with it scattered, of players. So just, taking advantage of that opportunity and just trying to, do the best you can.
The future of the linebacker position, that's a huge goal here, even in camp, right? Because you know what
it is, and we are, if you're out here every day, you'd have an opportunity to see, kind of how we've managed the experience and the veteranness of the group that's the so-called first team guys. The second, third team guys are getting a ton of reps right now, and we're fortunate every day because we get to come out here, and we get to play. We get to play behind. I'm talking about those younger guys. We get to play behind a veteran group, and that veteran group's setting the standard, maintaining, and really upholding the standard. And the younger guys, they don't have anything else to look at but that.
When those 3 freshmen that came in, when will you know if they're ready to go this year, even in special teams?
Yeah, it is such a jump, and you go back to the James Morris story, and James was, there was a void there, from a depth standpoint where James had to get thrown in there, and I'm not saying that couldn't happen with any of these young guys. I think we're fortunate right now that we have good depth, that I don't know that we would have to, put them into a situation like that, but everything that we've seen out of those guys has been really positive up to this point.
Yeah, those are 3 of the best athletes I've seen in high school in Iowa. That's got to excite you for the future.
It is. It is very. It's very exciting. It really is. There's a level of excitement here for a lot of different reasons. Just start with each of them are 20 to 50 miles from Iowa City. They all 3 grow up Hawkeyes. They're all 3 exceptional athletes coming out of high school, and they've all had great success in their regard with different sports. And now it's just trying to take all of that and put it into the linebacker position, and that's the challenge right now. They know it every day. I think we all get humbled each and every day we're out here. So just pick up your mouthpiece and come back to work the next day.
Without Coach Parker here, I'll ask you this question. So Coach Ferentz just talked about getting the best players on the field, and we were talking about offense, but as it applies to the defense, I have to think on a number of downs, Kyler Fisher is probably one of your best 11 guys.
He is.
So how does that work with Sebastian? Because he's got to be on the field a lot as well, I assume. How do you see those guys? Are they going to be on the field a lot together this year?
They will. It's a matter of personnel, and personnel dictates it. Sometimes we're going to line up against a team that's going to, put a Leo in there more often than the cash player. But I'll be honest with you, Kyler is our cover guy on our sub packages. So anytime we get into third down and we morph ourselves into nickel defense, or if we substitute into nickel defense, depending on the pace of the game, Kyler's going to be out there. So as much as we can get him out there from a cover standpoint, we're going to do that. But he is, he really, it doesn't exist on a depth chart, but Kyler's got some position flexibility. He was out there today, almost made a hell of a play, the will linebacker position. So, he's been repping, in multiple areas.
How much run does he still going to have on special teams? I'm assuming
he'll
a
have,
lot.
he'll have, his traction will be wearing thin when it comes to special teams. I mean, he is LeVar's example when it comes to how to do things from a drill standpoint, how to go out there and execute them. That from that standpoint, like, he's got everybody's attention. So we're fortunate that way.
Thanks, Coach.
Phil